in the chat. They hot as fuck. Yeah. Getting to the bag. Getting to the bag. Yeah. All my niggas, we don't do streaming. All my niggas, we getting to the cheese. And all my niggas, we ain't gon' go for to stop breathing. We stone. Let's stream it. We stone. Let's stream it. We stone. Let's stream it.
What up, though? I'm here, Righteous here. I got a ton of shit going on in the background. So I'm finna hand y'all off to him, and I might be back. I hope I'll be back. But if not, I'm sure Righteous can carry this shit. So, about to step off. I'm dealing with some issues over here. Not nothing bad. Ain't nobody dead or no shit like that.
Oh, you dealing with that shit already?
Yeah, nigga, that's what I just said.
The people there already? Oh, man, them motherfuckers move quick, boy. Man, quick like grits. Yes, sir. Hell yeah. Hey, look, man, y'all stuck with your boy Righteous Ain't Playing, man. It should be a very nice show. I'm not going to be able to pull up a bunch of shit and go over a lot of graphics and shit like that. But we will definitely be entertained and speaking on the whereabouts, the ongoings ons and what's nots. You feel me? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First things first, man. Who in the motherfucking building? Oh, man, there's all kind of folks in the motherfucking building. What up, Django? Just got back from the dispensary. Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Look like you got some 91 Royale, which is a Kim 91 cut. Okay, good shit, good shit. What up, Piff 1000 in the building? What a motherfucking doobie. Appreciate you tuning in. And we got Eno the life in this thing, man. Got a CC in a 7-gallon outside. Okay, well, couple things about that CC, man. It's a couple different phenols. Like, I always seem to find different phenols. Maybe my palate was just sensitive at the time. But it's one that's kind of got a little bit of an orange thing to it, man. Which, not too many people found that cut. But most of that, you're going to get heavy sherbet flavors. And I think Kind Buffalo got one going right now. Y'all can check out Kind Buffalo page. He got a nice size one over there. CC was my CC out of the last couple of strains that I made. I like that one a lot, but I also like Tommy Gun Honey Bun. But I think that CC is gonna be more of a more popular. I feel like more people would like that one for sure. For sure. We had a couple topics for you guys today. Without Chosen being here, obviously I can't play them, so there won't be no way to be able to play any clips or anything like that. But I did have the gist. There was a video by Professor Bruce Bugsby. Now that's one of Chosen's, I ain't gonna say idols, you know what I'm saying, but Chosen be paying very close attention, at least at one point in time, to Bruce Bugsby. And pretty much Bruce Bugsby was saying, man, you can pretty much flood lights. You can pretty much flood the plants with light in the vegetative stage. So, you know, it could take up to like 1,000 par versus, you know, when they're in the fruiting or flowering stage, they don't do as well with as much light. But when they're in the vegging cycle, you can pretty much just blast them with tons and tons and tons of light. And I don't know how much I agree with that. So I wanted to see what the chat was thinking, how the chat felt about that, because this is one of the places, man, I felt comfortable discussing topics with people, and I know they're gonna give, you know, their opinion And it'll be a good opinion, one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? They give you something to think about. Piff says he's in the kitchen, bar wings and loaded potatoes, the menu. Boy, I'm gonna pay for that tomorrow. Bar wings. I don't know what I think about a bar wing. I don't know, man. I don't know. Django says it sounds fire, though. It sounds fire. But yeah, man, I personally don't agree with that statement that, you could just load up plants and veg with as much par as you want. Because I feel like there is a thing as light burn. And I feel like that'd be interesting something to see, because I've never given plants 100% light and veg. However, I have vegged under like 600 watt HPS. And I feel like there was no way to like turn that down or turn that up, and the plants didn't necessarily do bad. But I just feel like if you're distance, if you get too much intensity on them, too much photon intensity, you're gonna burn some shit up. This boy said ranch buffalo and garlic palm. Okay. Inu the Life says that's called power vegging. Now, just because Inu even said that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that makes me feel like, well, shit, you really can't control the power of the sun. People veg their shit outdoors, but I'm sure certain people shit get cooked too. Do you think it just has to do with keeping enough water within the cell membranes of the plant? Like, if they have enough water, they can take as much light? Or do you just think that shit, you can overpower something with light intensity? Curious to know what the chat thinks about that. Mr. Django says loin in the oven with roast potatoes, green beans, cornbread, and a mac with the cheese. Okay. That shit sound weird just to say loin. I got loin in the oven. Like, you know what I'm saying? By all means, do your thing, Mr. J.O.G. You know what I'm saying? But loin? I mean, can you say pork loin, tenderloin? What kind of loin is in there, man? What kind of loin? All right. Piff 1000 says, I veg them big ass plants under 25%. I don't turn it up till I flip. Now, see, that's one thing I always thought too. I always felt like the more light you got, the less incentive the plant has to grow taller. Like, I feel like, not to say that it won't use the light and it can't bush out, but I just feel like if you got a whole bunch of light on some shit in veg, what's the point of it stretching up or moving or growing, upwards instead of just growing outwards? Let's see. Mr. Django says Dr. Bruce is cool as fuck. Yeah, man, he seemed like a cool ass dude, man. I think I had seen on the video, it was him and the dude from MyGrow, which I think the dude from MyGrow just got outed for lying about his numbers on his lights, even though, traditionally he has, been somewhat respected for being honest. Seemed like, man, the money got to him. Seemed like the money got to him, man. Oh, shit. Piff says, indoor that light is way more intense. I have to, I'm never growing outdoors, man. It's, I've said before, man, I don't think I ever will want to grow outdoors. That's just not, just knowing. It's like saying, oh man, I'm gonna walk in the jail showers with no shoes on. It's like, nigga, once you know what's probably in that jail shower floor, shit, you might not want to walk in that bitch with somebody else's shower shoes on. You feel me? Like, fuck all of that. Now, one topic I did want to talk about, man, and like I said, I guess I might be able to. Hold on 1 second. I gotta cut on the hotspot, man, so that way I can read this article to y'all. Saw a pretty interesting article that says youth cannabis use is down in Canada. Now, why do you guys think that might be? Do you think that has to do with the legalization of cannabis? Why would youth cannabis usage go down? In Canada? We're going to pull up this article. We're going to take a look at it. All right, let's see. Youth marijuana use has declined since Canada enacted legalization, federally funded study shows. A federally funded study out of Canada shows that youth marijuana use rates have declined after the country's legalized cannabis, contradicting concerns voiced by prohibitionists. Using data from Canada's annual Compass study, researchers at the University of Waterloo and Brock University compared marijuana use trends among adolescents from 2017 to 2018. And that's pre-legislation, and 2021 through 2022, which is post-legalization. The study published in the journal Addictive Behavior Reports found that 15% of students in the pre-legalization cohort reported past month cannabis use, while 12.3% in the post-legalization group reported the same. Now, I'm gonna stop right there real quick because number one, like, how many people did you guys use in this study? How many children did you use? I'm glad it's going down, but that's like a 3% decrease, man. That don't sound like a whole lot unless you putting that shit over a larger group of people. You know, for instance, 3% of 100,000 is a lot less than 3% of 1,000. You know. Also, there were increased accounts of students who said they never used marijuana in the later demographic. Beyond analyzing cannabis usage rates, the researchers also sought to identify risk factors that could predict whether a student is likely to use marijuana. Now, I don't like that. I don't like that shit right there. That's that bullshit. Oh, you got a single parent home? Do you eat more than 2 times a night? Well, you're likely to use marijuana because your life's fucked up. I don't want to hear no shit like that. All right, let's see here. And those factors did change between the two pre and post legalization groups, which suggests that prevention efforts need to adapt over time to target the relevant risk factors associated with cannabis use. So what they're saying is, hey, the likelihood of you using cannabis, the things that would trigger your usage have changed in the past, 7 to 10 years between study to study. Specifically, the study of more than 65,000 students over the 2 time periods found that although many risk factors were common across years, the relative ranking of risk factors changed considerably. The top predictors of current cannabis use pre-legalization were time spent text messaging, daily breakfast consumption, and time spent doing homework, all of which also remained as important predictors in 2021-2022, the study author said. The top predictors of current cannabis use post-legalization were depression, happy home life, and students believing that getting good grades was important. And this marijuana is gonna help. It's gonna help me. I just can't study without it. I need it. Our results highlight an increase in reports of cannabis never use and a slight decline in current cannabis use in our samples, the study says. While this is contrary to evidence of a plateau in cannabis use amongst youth during the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, it may indicate that the decline observed here a few years out from the pandemic-related restrictions may not be a result of the pandemic, but more likely due to regulation association with legalization and or changes in social norms. Given that cannabis use among the youth remains common, there is a pressing need to identify the characteristics of youth who are at the greatest risk for cannabis misuse, and in turn to develop and deploy early prevention and intervention programs tailored to these needs and high-risk youth. This study provides evidence that in a relatively short 4-year period spanning the cannabis pre-legalization to post-legalization time periods, adolescents' cannabis use has declined, but the risk factor profile for cannabis use has substantively changed, and implicating elevations in internationalizing mental health conditions. Locally relevant and timely ongoing surveillance efforts are required to inform cannabis control efforts moving forward. Man, so they said that cannabis use is down in the kids in Canada. All right. Now, just kind of going back to what was previously stated, Mr. Django says, sun is the most a seedling can get or take. So I think it depends on genetics and environment. That's what's up. That's what's up. Piff 1000 says, I grew some fire in the middle of the hood. Okay. Okay. English says, best son don't play. That son don't play. That's what's up. Now, Piff said something about spray pack. I don't know what that is. Piff 1000 says, this is some bullshit. I was 15 before, and I would tell you, no, I don't use drugs. So what you're saying is, they didn't actually have no willing participants. These motherfuckers just made some shit up. Okay. Mr. Jago says they moved to Molly and Fent. Well, damn. Canada's youth is really fucked. They're on that Molly. Inu Life says, well, Canada have to nuke all of their legal cannabis. I'd like to know a little bit more about what you mean about that, man. I'd love to know what you mean a little bit more about that. Now, man, I really wish I could show you this video because this is something me and that nigga Chosen was was debating. Now we all know, to Piff 1000's point, there is something called a spray pack out there. Now here's my question to y'all: are they spraying terps, or are they also spraying color? Chowap was talking about somebody at his job. You know, he was telling the girl about the spray pack, and you know, she got the weed wet and dried it off with a paper towel, and now the tissue is purple. There's also a video we was gonna show a dude who was dropping some weed down into some water, spinning around, and the water turned purple. And you know, he was saying, "Be careful where you get your weed from, because of the spray packs." What up, John Mallory? Appreciate you stopping through. So, are people spraying the weed with terpenes, or are they also spraying it with color? That's the question I got for y'all. And you know, while y'all are dropping y'all comments down in the chat, feel free to also put what you smoking on. We already know Django is smoking on that Kim 91 or that Royale. All right. Django says, I'm still looking for that shit she had. Piff 1000 says, yes, that gas house Pluto was bleeding purple. Now, Piff, why was it bleeding purple in your opinion? Was it because they sprayed purple on it? Or do you think, well, I'm going to tell you what I think it is. You know, but I just want to know, what do you think it's because someone sprayed the color on there? Okay, he says all of the above. Everybody's still looking for that Sarah. Hey, look, somebody needs to make a strain called Sarah, and that needs to be the commercial. That needs to be the seed promotion. You know what I'm saying? For Sarah with them flat ass legs. You definitely ain't getting up off the couch with no bones. That bitch smoked and lost all her bones. But you was smoking, Sarah. Osteoporosis. That's what I was smoking on. Decal Mag. That bitch that bitch had bone loss like a motherfucker. All right, now, just to kind of get into this purple weed thing. Everybody know at one point in time, you know, your boy Righteous used to have what I used to like to call the hashadabbery. You know what I'm saying? I stole the lingo from what's that movie with Samuel L. Jackson? You know what I'm saying? The haberdashery. Yeah, that's where I got the hashadabbery from. You know what I'm saying? But it's something that's located in the weeds. It's a pigment. It's called anthocyanins. Anytime you got purple weed, you have something called anthocyanins, right? I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I could be saying it wrong. But anthocyanins is how I pronounce it. Anthocyanins is what makes gives the pigment of purple to cannabis. And just like you know, blueberries, they also have anthocyanins, but when it comes into contact with water, it can become water soluble, therefore making your water purple, therefore bleeding purple, like maybe like the gas house Pluto, or maybe like something else, you know, other strains. What was happening with Chosen Homegirl, or even the dude on the video, which we ain't able to put up there and show y'all today. But I can show y'all, bro. When I've made hash, I still probably got the video on Instagram. The water was straight purple. And shit, everybody on here know me. Y'all know I don't spray no plants. Shit, I'm pretty ignorant to what the fuck that actually even is. You know what I mean? Spraying plants. I mean, I know they've got, you know, terpenes. I know what terpenes are. I know what natural terpenes are. I know what fake terpenes are. Fake terpenes probably in this pen I'm smoking right now, you know? But the anthocyanins, you can look this shit up. I'm gonna actually see if I can spell it out. ANTHA. Yeah, anthocyanins. ANTHOCYANINS. Anthocyanins are water-soluble pigments found in plants that give them red, blue, or purple colors. They are the type of flavonoid with potent antioxidant properties that may help reduce inflammation, lower the risk of heart disease and some cancers, and support brain function. Common dietary sources include berries, cherries, black beans, red cabbage, and purple grapes. All right. Now let's dig a little bit deeper. Anthocyanins cannabis. Let's see what they talk about in this. And we're going very surface level, but we still going deeper, right? Anthocyanins are natural pigments found in many plants, including cannabis. They give cannabis its purple, blue, or red hues. Pretty much the same thing that we just talked about. In plants, anthocyanins have several functions. Pigmentation, which means they provide color to flowers, fruits, and leaves. Protection, they help protect plants from ultraviolet radiation and oxidative stress. That's very interesting, considering that, you know, some of us will use UV when growing. And then antioxidant activity. They have antioxidant properties that may benefit human health. Anthocyanins of cannabis. In cannabis, anthocyanins are produced in response to environmental factors such as low temperature. So cold temperature stimulate anthocyanin production. Stressful conditions such as drought or nutrient deficiencies can also trigger anthocyanins synthesis. Genetics. Certain strains of cannabis are more prone to producing anthocyanins than others. The effects of anthocyanins on humans are not well studied. However, some research suggests they may be antioxidant and have anti-inflammatory properties. While there is limited scientific evidence, some anecdotal reports suggest that anthocyanins in cannabis may have health benefits such as pain relief, anti-anxiety effects, and improved sleep. It is important to note that smoking or vaping cannabis containing high levels of anthocyanins may be harmful to the lungs. Additionally, there is no evidence that anthocyanins have psychoactive effects. Now that's interesting, at least to me, because it would seem to me what they're saying is, hey man, green weed is healthier than purple weed, smoking wise. But maybe it's not as healthy or maybe it's healthier from an edible perspective. So, like I said, man, there are plenty of photos or pictures where you can go and see me washing the weed and all the water is purple. It looks like some good grape Kool-Aid. But the hash itself don't necessarily be purple, you know? I have seen some people make purple hash too, but, you know, like, when I was washing the bubble, the heads would be typically, like, once you wash it and everything, it'd be more brown or, you know, like a light golden hue. All right, let's read in the chat. Let's see what y'all are talking about in the chat. Let's say they say plants have natural pigment, but they sprayed that shit. Correct. Django OG says correct. It is a purple pigment. Piff 1000 says I can turn every crop I run purple. Okay. Django says he's rolling up some sweet menthol right now. Fire at Inu to Life. John Mallory said this shit's in everything nowadays. Okay. Now, Django says smoking purple keeps us young. That Benjamin Button pack. Okay. Piff says environment. I dropped them temps. It's gonna show color. That Indian School Road was crazy pink and purple. Now, just because you brought up the Indian School Road, man, I was talking to Cho about that offline, man. And that's definitely probably gonna be one of the strains I bring back, man. Like the one thing that I really wanted to do, like I feel like, you know, I did a good job, you know what I'm saying? But one of the things I really wanted to do is give Arizona something that they of their own to provide to the cannabis world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Michigan's known for pure Michigan, right? Well, shit, I'd love for a motherfucker to come to Arizona, and even if, you know, it ain't some shit I grew, but somebody's like, man, you gotta try the Indian School Road. You gotta get on that. and then they smoke it, and then they drive down Indian School Road. Oh shit, that's where they got the name from. You know what I'm saying? Just shit like that. But I believe the conversation we was even having in regards to just Indian School Road, we was talking about our favorite eras of the weed, man. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think my favorite era of weed, man, is probably the cookie era. That's the era where I feel like, man, I had the most fun and the most growth. Obviously, you know what I'm saying, the OG era was amazing. But I do feel like, man, I was a customer during that era. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't growing OG. I was motherfucking buying that shit. You know what I'm saying? The cookies era, I feel like I was growing up cookies and cookies crosses like a motherfucker. You know? Like, damn near everything has some kind of cookie in it. You know what I mean? Let's go back to the chat. Now that's interesting. That's a very interesting comment. I want to know what the rest of the chat thinks about that, man. John Mallory says, I prefer green over perp. That's a tough one right there, man. Like, I don't like a lot of purple weeds. Like, I don't like the old school purple weeds. Like, but I do like perp, like the granddaddy perp. But like most of the other shit, it was purple. Like, I really wasn't liking that shit like that. I don't know. I felt like a lot of that shit was very, very hazy. Like, the smoke be thin a lot of times on purple weed. I feel like that's typically not the strongest weed. And I think purple weed is different than something that has like hints of purple. I'm talking about that weed where like the whole shit is just purple. That's the shit I'm talking about. I don't think that's stronger than. I feel like it's almost weaker. You know what I mean? Let's see here. So what say you, chat? Do y'all prefer green weed or do you prefer purple weed? Or do you just want good weed and don't care if it's green or if it's purple? Mr. Django says, like white wine or red wine. I see herb the same way, for real, for real. Gotcha. Piff says, damn, who got shot? I don't know. I hope everybody's okay. That's what I hope. Let's see. He said that shit was fire. It was pretty good, man. It was pretty good. Mr. Django says that shit was super nice. Appreciate it. Bill says when you done, I'll be a tester for the hunt. For sure. Mr. Django says, I miss real Afghan skunk and that sweet, soapy hydro bud. Yeah, I personally don't miss. Now, I know you probably talking about something different, but that shit just made me think about soap dope. And that's that weed that you could tell they put that shit in laundry detergent or they had that shit around motherfucking dryer sheets. And all the weed tastes fucking soapy or like, yeah, I used to hate that shit. And that shit was in the mid-grade era. That shit was in the Reggie era. It was in all the eras. Like, I didn't like that shit. Yeah, I feel like that shit was strictly due to transportation. Fucking soap dope. Now, looks like Pip says, I just want good meds. Eno the Life says, I love green weed, but I like green weed with the little color. Put a little, sprinkle me, man. Sprinkle me, man. Django says, that green burns better to me. Most purple, the same dry floral terps. Yeah, that dryer sheet weed fucked the pack up. It sure do. Man, hey, Inu, man. Oh, man. Some people will never understand that Crippy Bud, man. That real Crippy. You know what I'm saying? That, I don't know. I felt like it was just like a wave. It was like that shit wasn't loud, but it was like loud. It was like the shit is like, it's not even like mids. It's because it's better than like old school mid. We talking about mid-grade weed. It's depending on the Crippy, that shit might be like a hair under like some good loud. But I want to say it was loud, but it wasn't loud. It's kind of hard to say. But that real, definitely some Florida shit. Now, I guess that's a good question. Did y'all have Crippy Bud in other places like real, like the shit? It was called Crippy. It wasn't like, it was like almost like that shit was a strain damn near. It was like a certain type of weed in Florida, and that shit was called Crippy. Not kind bud, but Crippy. I feel like that shit was everywhere in Florida, man. Crippy Bud. Django says resin dripping out the blunt. I remember. Okay. So maybe y'all did have it a little bit everywhere. Maybe that shit wasn't just a Florida thing. Okay. All right. Let's see, man. I'm trying to pull up another topic here, man. Okay. We got two more topics here. Kind Bud was my neighbor. Federal officials revise sentencing guidelines for drug selling convictions. Now, the reason why I like to talk about this type of shit, man, is, you know, shit, we may all possibly know someone or even may have possibly been that person, you know, who is going through the judicial system. And if there's any light or any time you can give back, you know what I'm saying? Shit, man. Take this knowledge, you know, and spread it to your loved ones, man. However, I have not read this, so shit, it may mean something completely different than what I think. You know what I'm saying? So let's just get into it. An adjustment is generally warranted if the defendant's primary function in the offense was plainly among the lowest level of drug trafficking functions, such as serving as a courier. New amendments to federal sentencing guidelines will put less of an emphasis on the quantity of drugs someone charged with and give more consideration to the scope of their role in overall drug distribution chain. The United States Sentencing Commission implemented the amendments November 1st. So this is new federal law. Federal sentencing is calculated using a deeply convoluted scoring system that assigns a base offense level, EOL, between 1 and 43, according to how serious a conviction is perceived to be. For drug trafficking, this is determined partly through a drug quantity table that uses the number of grams involved to assign a BOL that prior to the new amendments could be between 6 and 38. But about 2 out of 3 people were being sentenced using a BOL of between 30 and 38. The fixation with quantity as the biggest factor in how serious each case made it easy to prosecute local distributors, as well as if there were The fixation with quantity as the biggest factor in how serious each case made it easy to prosecute local distributors as if they were high-level members of drug trafficking organizations. Neighborhood sellers who might only deal in relatively small quantities could still be assigned a BOL for much larger quantities if the number was measured over a long period of time, or manipulated in other ways. The length of someone's prison sentence also depends on other factors like prior convictions, but a higher BOL correlation to a longer sentence. For a BOL of 37 or higher, the upper end of the sentencing range can be life in prison, depending on the person's criminal legal history. Now, base offense levels will be capped at 32 for people determined to have a mitigating role in the violation, meaning those at the lower end of the supply chain, and the USSC, which I'm going to believe is the United States Supreme Court, is supporting a broader application of that standard. A base offense level of 32 means a sentence ranging of roughly between 10 and 22 years. So you hear that, guys? You're still going to get fucked over, okay? So don't do crime. But it looks like they ain't going to be able to charge you as the head person. And I think that's the most important thing right there. An adjustment is generally warranted if the defendant's primary function in the offense was plainly among the lowest level of drug trafficking functions, such as serving as a courier, running errands, sending or receiving phone calls or messages, or acting as a lookout. State the guidelines. Or if the defendant's primary function in the offense was performing another low-level trafficking function, such as distributing controlled substances in user-level quantities for little or no monetary compensation, or with primary motivation other than profit. Primary motivations other than profit could include personal relationships, or being threatened or coerced. The United States Supreme Court is still considering whether to apply the adjustment retroactively. Another amendment applies to fentanyl-related substances specifically. In 2018, the United States Supreme Court added a 4-level sentencing enhancement for cases involving fentanyl or fentanyl analogs. If the person convicted was found to have knowingly misrepresented a substance as not containing fentanyl. Then in 2023, it added an alternative enhancement of only 2 levels if the level of awareness could be characterized as willful blindness or conscious avoidance of knowledge, which implies less intent. Now the 2-level alternative can be applied for reckless disregard, which is intended to make it more widely used in place of the 4-level enhancement. Man, that's some shit for your ass, boy. Not all proposed amendments were adopted. The United States Supreme Court had been poised to make long-awaited changements to sentencing enhancements for methamphetamines, which, unlike almost all other banned substances, is criminalized according to purity rather than quantity. More than 80% of drug trafficking cases with a BOL of 38 involve meth. In 2024, the United States Supreme Court published its first analysis meth-related convictions in nearly a quarter century, which showed that they make up close to half of all federal drug trafficking convictions and are the most likely to involve mandatory minimum sentences. In April, when the commission voted to adopt the other 25 amendments, it never voted on that one. All right, so what that means to me is, hey, look, man, some people gonna get off a little easy. You know what I mean? But it sounds like some other people about to get their ass towed out the frame. What? Towed out the frame. But I think that is somewhat good, somewhat decent. You know what I'm saying? Personally, I wouldn't advocate that you do any crime anyway, but if you have to, you know what I'm saying, know what crimes you doing, man. Know the punishments for them. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's probably something that's probably most people don't get told. If you know you got to, keep that thing with you everywhere you go, and let's just say you live in New York, shit you need to know, hey, man, comes with 3 to 9 years. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna come with 3 to 9, Oh, You had some crack on you too? Okay, well, you gonna get that crack charge to go with it too, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, I ain't gonna say people still ain't cooking crack, but the real big deal now is fentanyl and these fake pills and shit like that, man. Y'all just be careful, man. It's scary. It's scary out here, man. Spooky. Django says they setting it up. Piff says crime don't pay right now. Trump talking about deportation for drugs. Piff says the feds can go back 15 years and each crime in that time period determines your sentence. If your record is crazy, go on and kiss the baby. Django said it's set up like a game, do or die in some cases. Do you want to smoke my weed? Do you want to rock with me? Do you want to smoke my weed? Hey, nigga said do or die. That's what that shit made me think of. You know what I'm saying? R.I.P. to them. Yeah, I think like one of them died or something like that. It's crazy work. Crazy work. Crazy work. All right. Now this last topic, man, I'm gonna have a little fun with this one, man. Cookies on Camelback. Yeah, R.I.P. Johnny P. This one we're gonna have a little bit of fun, man. Nebraska Attorney General calls marijuana a poison and says people who buy it from a tribe within the state do so at their own peril. Okay, peril, huh? That's a strong word to use. Now, I'm gonna tell you the first thing I thought when I read this headline. Sounds like Nebraska needs a new attorney general. Get this nigga the fuck up out of there. It's a poison, and you'll perish. You're gonna perish. Nigga, get the fuck out of here, man. What the fuck are you talking about, man? That motherfucker, like the way this motherfucker's talking is like he's Amish. Are you Amish? What kind of fucking cult are you in, sir? You're in a cult. Something is not wrong with something's not right with you, man. Something's wrong with Holmes. You know what I'm saying? Something is wrong with Holmes. The Attorney General of Nebraska says people who buy marijuana under a Native American tribe's planned legal market on his reservation within the state do so at their own peril, implying enforcement actions against citizens for purchasing what he described as a poison if they take it beyond the territory's borders. During a press conference focused on unrelated executive order, Governor Jim Pillen and Attorney General Mike Hilgers were asked about ongoing negotiations with the Omaha tribe of Nebraska over a tobacco tax compact and the tribe's move to legalize cannabis within the prohibitionist state. I think that my position is crystal clear. I'm totally opposed in recreational marijuana. The governor said, if the Omaha tribe progressed to that extent, my view is really simple. There's not going to be Nebraskans going into Omaha buying recreational marijuana. We'll take whatever steps it is to keep our state values and keep that from happening. So you hear that, guys? The values of Nebraska are those of the Amish. No cars either. We don't want you driving cars, okay? We don't. No airplane. Not in our state. Not in our state, you don't. No, you're not. No, you're not. Yeah, this nigga wear clogs to the state house. This nigga got I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm tripping, man. Hilgers, the state attorney general, also spoke about the tribe's cannabis program alongside the governor, as well as during a separate press briefing on Wednesday. Man, your knickers are really in a bunch behind this shit, huh? While compacts between the state and tribal government can be good for both parties, he said what the Omaha tribe has proposed is both a hold on, let me get this word out. Usurpation of the tax revenue from tobacco sales and a willful defiance of state laws around marijuana. Well, look here. If they're on their reservation, I don't believe they're in the state. I think they're in the reservation. So that's just how I look at it, I guess. The tribe effectively said, what we are going to do is what we're going to set up. Hold on. The tribe effectively said, what we are going to do is we're going to set up a system, both medicinal and recreational uses, that they sell to non-citizens that actually violates Nebraska law, Hilger said. So what Hilgers, the attorney general, is saying, if you sell this shit to the citizens of Nebraska, that's illegal. You can sell it to your own people, don't sell it to my people. Okay. And Hilgers, I believe, is the attorney general. If you are not a licensed dispensary or cultivator, you cannot operate in the medical marijuana program under the current state statute. So that'll be a violation of state law, and you certainly cannot do it recreationally, he said. And so to me, and hopefully to any well-meaning Nebraskans who look at that type of negotiating posture, that we would like 90% of your money, all you're going to get is, we're going to flaunt the laws of your sovereign and make your life more difficult because now you have enforcement issues. Anyone who tries to go to the tribal lands to buy marijuana for any purpose does so at their own peril, and I would highly discourage them from doing that, he says. At Wednesday's briefing, meanwhile, the Attorney General is similarly complaining about what he's describing as an unfair negotiating tactic by the tribe. What we heard was, state of Nebraska, you may not get anything on this, but have I got a deal for you? Because you get a proposed unlawful recreation and proposed medicinal marijuana scheme that's unlawful under Nebraska state law, in part because they're not a licensed dispensary. We're going to sell to non-citizens, and so we're going to violate your law. We're going to sell a poison contrary to your law to your citizens. You're going to have to deal with the fallout, state of Nebraska. The state's top prosecutor said, paraphrasing what he said was the tribe's position. You're going to have to deal with the cost of that. You're going to have to deal with your citizens having adverse effects, psychosis, or committing crimes from the marijuana. Oh, man. You know what I say to that, man? Motherfucker, everybody's criminal. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody. Like, just on that small point, I wanted to make a segue, man. And I'm going to get back to the article. I'll finish it up and then we'll wrap up the show. But, like, do you speed? Like, I feel like everybody speeds. I feel like my mama speed. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Like, I feel like everybody be driving faster than the fucking speed limit. Which means what? You're breaking the law, you're committing a crime, right? Or violating the ordinance. Depending on who you're talking to and what they talking like. You know what I'm saying? We know we got the sovereign citizens. We know we got the Moorish brothers out there. But you get my point. Everybody breaks the fucking law. And those people aren't all smoking. Not everybody's high on the highway like me. So I don't think marijuana makes you break laws at all. I think that's some bullshit to even say. Now, in addition to the tribe's proposal to keep the majority of the tax revenue from the tobacco sales on its territory, the tribal government essentially said, we're going to break your laws and sort of thumb your nose at Nebraska state statutes, Hilger said, adding that we'll respond in due course. It's one question about selling to tribal citizens, but it's totally another question selling to non-citizens, he said. They don't have the license to do that. So yeah, it is contrary. It's contrary to law. as contrary to federal law, by the way, as contrary to state law. The Omaha tribe gave a different perspective on this issue earlier this month, with the tribe's attorney general claiming that the state is using its efforts to legalize marijuana as an excuse to suspend negotiations on a tobacco tax deal, calling their ass out. This comes as Nebraska officials are facing broader criticism over attempts to significantly scale back a voter-approved medical marijuana law. But the Omaha tribe is moving forward with its adult use program nonetheless, approving its first license for a vertically integrated cannabis operation since approving legalization in its borders earlier this year. At its first meeting in July, the Omaha Tribe of Nebraska's Cannabis Regulatory Commission discussed proposed rules to stand up to tribal marijuana market. They also agreed to license the tribe itself to move forward with next steps in setting up the industry for launch. The draft rules weren't adopted at the meeting, but the tribe's attorney general, John Cartier, the nigga got a fire name. What's your name, John Cartier? Said that in time he wants the territory to stand as a direct contrast to that dysfunction and show that the will of the voters is being respected, at least on the Omaha reservation. So he threw a little shot at their ass. Do it, motherfucker. Ooh, Piff. Piff done got it started. I see it. I didn't even have a chance to. Man, are we gonna have this conversation, man? Let's see here. Fifth 1000 says Trump just went all the way to the Supreme Court to starve y'all. Kind of funny. Fifth says the Amish be involved, bro. I was in CCA with the real Amish mafia. We shine all the shoes in this prison. We don't want to see you crutching our territory. We clean all the shoes. All right. Mr. Django OG says aunt, grandmas, and uncles, cousins, and corn. That's all. Keep Satan salad out our state. That look like they do have some type of medical program or whatever. It look like they just don't want to go full wreck. Satan salad. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Now, this is how I feel. Django says, damn, y'all took the natives' land. At least let them grow a little reefer. I agree, but I also agree with this. Them fake ass Indians. I also agree with that too. But that's a completely different conversation for a whole nother show. Django OG says, shit, it's a misdemeanor to be black. We get a charge for stepping out the crib. Now, man, I kind of agree with that, but I kind of don't. You know what I mean? Like, when I stopped being on bullshit, man, I really stopped having a lot of interactions with law enforcement. They don't really fuck with me, man. And they leave me alone. Like, even sometimes I fuck up, man. I could think, I probably been, man, yeah, I've been giving a lot of breaks, man. I just give y'all even a recent example, man. One time in the last 2 or 3 years, man, I got pulled over for driving 70 and 30, right? I had to get somewhere, okay? I know I was fucking up. But, you know, shit, 20 miles over the speed limit is criminal speeding. You said, nigga, I'm doing 70 and a 30. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, you know, nigga, I wasn't even supposed to have a license. Nigga, I was probably supposed to go straight to fucking jail. But that motherfucker did me a solid and gave me that shit. Gave me a a civil infraction and not a criminal speed, a civil speeding. Man, I couldn't say nothing but thank you, Mr. White Man. Thank you, Mr. White Man. Thank you, Mr. White Man. I appreciate it. Thank you for not allowing me to ruin my own life. You know what I'm saying? Shit, man. Most recently, man, I was driving late night, man. It was about 4 or 5 in the morning. And, you know, niggas tired and shit, man. You know, I'm thinking I'm on a 2-lane highway, man. I'm on a 1-lane highway. So I go to get in the left lane because I'm about to pass this car and shit. And apparently, the police said, man, you tried to run me off the road. And I'm like, damn, bro, I didn't even see you. Matter of fact, you didn't even have your lights on, sir. You didn't even have your headlights on. I just told that motherfucker some shit. Made up some shit, man. I don't even think you had your headlights on, man. Yeah, no ticket, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? I did get pulled. I got yanked and shit. But I feel like a lot of that shit really is, man, like, once you start acting like, once you get away from the street mentality and the, you know what I'm saying, the motherfuckers don't tell me what to do, I run the world type shit. Yeah, man. It'll be a, yeah, Piff. Nigga was tripping, man. Tripping. But yeah, man, I ain't get no ticket for that shit neither. So I was thankful. You know what I'm saying? I was very thankful. Just told that nigga, hey, man, you didn't have your headlights on, man. How I was supposed to see you? Probably like, what? And you know, he probably had to guess. He had to second guess that shit. Did I have my headlights on? I don't know. Well, I'm just gonna let this nigga go because I don't have time to review the tape. So we just let him go, man. Hey, man, but look, man, it's been another fine episode of Stoner Streaming. Unfortunately, that nigga Chowop is not here to turn the shit off, right? So, and he's not here to play Rain either. So I'm just gonna do an acapella. Rain. Nah, I'm just fucking with y'all. I'm just fucking with y'all, man. I ain't gonna do it that way. I got stalked by a DT. They said I ran him off the road. I had to threaten his ass with a lawsuit. Hey, man, just tell that nigga, hey, man, you don't have your lights on, man. You didn't have your headlights on, man. But it was 12 o'clock. And after that, man, you didn't have your lights on, man. Okay. You didn't have your lights on. But look, man, everybody be motherfucking safe out there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I know it's starting to get cold in the Midwest and in the North. Man, bundle up. You know, you heard that song by Kendrick, Squabble Up, Bundle Up, Bundle Up. That's what you niggas better do. 3 layers out this motherfucker, okay? 3 layers. Hey, man, but shit, we out this motherfucker. Everybody have a safe week, man. Love to the Stoner Streaming family, man. Peace.